Hey man, it's going well. How you been?
Good, good.
Nice. Thanks for doing this. I know I swapped the time around on you a little bit, but how's your weekend been?
Good, good. Just spent on building another um, gig that I have.
Another
So
what?
another project that I'm building on.
Oh, nice. What's the project?
Um, it's a headless template library. It's like um, I'll send it to you later on once I have. I already have a working demo, but it's pretty much like building blocks for creating websites. It gives you the blocks, but it doesn't give you like the actual um, like design. It just gives you the structure and it tells you exactly what to do, and it gives you example of a design that applies to it, and you can pretty much copy and paste it to your website. So I have a developer making the templates, and I already created the software so that people can just copy and paste it. So that's like a small gig I'm doing just to get it out there. I want to start building out my brand. So building out this small things can really kick off.
Well, that's awesome. Another week goes by and another really cool project you're about to launch. That's that's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And
Yeah.
if you log into it and create, it has a really nice interface. I like it. It's not so. It's
Nice,
really
man.
nice. Hmm.
Yeah, so I just hit the record button. I just find it's a lot more natural to just do it right from the start versus like trying to prepare before.
Yeah, of
So
course.
yeah, so we this is what'll be going up. So I'll just get into it and figure I'll just start by introducing each other for anyone listening. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Gio?
So my name is Giovanni Rodriguez. I'm actually from Mexico. Um, I am specialized more on the technical side of things and the digital world. I started out first working in the call center business. Started as an agent, went into a staff personnel. Then the opportunity came for me to actually look at technical things of the business intelligence, and I really became really good at it, managing databases. It's really funny how I actually started. We had like this thing against, we wanted to get some data from our calls, and one of my directors actually told me, "Is like, you're really good at Excel. Why don't you try to do a database for all the call logs we're having and analyze all these kind of things?" So pretty much in a part of a week, I started building out a database without even knowing, and then it just kicked off, and then he started giving more assignments, and then all of a sudden I'm doing Power BI databases, web applications, all these kind of things that you would think are really complex. I started building out myself on my own, and then one thing got to another, and suddenly I became manager for the whole development team. So I actually had around 10 database analysts. I had around 12 developers and some other roles in between, like supervisors, other staff support on the team. And then I just became at it, right? And then all of a sudden, 2020, when the pandemic hit, I was working from home and I started doing some freelance work. And I just left my old job and just focused up on this. And since then, I've just been working on different kind of stuff, building out custom software for companies, building out web app applications, WordPress, custom Angular, React, Svelte, databases, so you name it. I've been doing kind of like any consulting work I could. And right now at the moment, we're focusing more on just creating new tools, new stuff to help out businesses. But that's just kind of like overall a back end of my the story of myself.
That's great experience. And I actually didn't know you worked for another company before doing this sort of stuff before you were freelancing. Interesting. So, when exactly did you start helping companies with SEO?
So that was back in 2000, like mid 2020. I actually started my own agency. It was at that time called Tank City Labs. Pretty much, I had some developers, and I was doing given the operations part for another agency, and we had a big client. Um, that they needed SEO stuff, right? So one of the things is they wanted optimization on speed on the website. They needed they were gonna change they had like different languages for each one of on their site. So it was pretty big, huge site. It was around 200 pages per language. So there was a lot of things we needed to fix on the SEO. They had another consulting company that was doing the part of scanning the website, giving out all the errors, and based on that, me as the head developer, I had to start, investigating all these kind of things and fixing up for them. So we would get like a weekly report of, okay, so on all these pages, the meta title is missing. On these pages, the speed is really low. On these pages, the DOM is pretty long, right? So there was a lot of technical things we needed to be fixing on this for this client. So this actually helped me out start on the SEO part. I knew the technical part, but I didn't know what I needed to do to regarding SEO. So that was like my first project that I had to involve all my technical knowledge into SEO.
Gotcha. And let's talk a little bit about, the success from that work, your first client, and we can get to some of our mutual clients and how they're doing. But didn't you say that you ranked them so well that that another company, Cloudways, bought them out, or was that how exactly did that
It was
happen?
another company, so I just don't want to put out names out there. But
Okay.
it was a cybersecurity company that at the end was bought out by a bigger company, right? Um, it was not only SEO. I think it was a big project because we did with a lot of people. We did, their branding, their website designs, all the things related to SEO. We migrated the site. We did so many. That was a really big client that we had around 10 people working on that project. I had three developers on it. But at the end, this company, with everything we did and everything that, the really good product that they were offering, at the end they were bought out by another company. And even then, we still continued working as the consultant for that company. Even though they brought in their own team because we were doing such an excellent job. But yeah, they were actually bought out by, they were bought out by Akamai.
Oh, really?
So it was, yeah, so it was, they were bought out that way. And after that, pretty much it was a really nice, like, just being part of that. It was really nice.
Yeah, definitely a resume builder for sure. So yeah, that's a national SEO campaign, which I think is even more trickier, more competition, more resources being involved to what we're talking about today, which is more local SEO. So that being said, transitioning into, I mean, we still do a mix of national and SEO together, but why don't you let's talk about recently I've been seeing your screenshots on the revenue produced from organic from iKiss. And I think it's it's up to in 3 months, 25K in additional e-commerce revenue per month and growing. Yeah, where's that at right now? Like the total revenue and the, talk about your success with that a bit.
Yeah, so yeah, this is just a new brand that I started working on. I believe November last year. So pretty much, I started out rebuilding, rebranding the website because they were from BigCommerce. I migrated them to WooCommerce. One of the things is being cost involved, right? The customer wanted to save money regarding how much he was paying for. It's a big difference paying BigCommerce 1,500 to just $100, or $100, and some for your own server and managing your own WooCommerce site. And especially since they didn't have a lot of, a lot of, you could say, products. They don't have a lot that they sell. But the main thing regarding this client is that in the past, having a big commerce site, they only focus on Google Ads. So for a lot of times, they've been just getting sales from Google Ads primarily because at that time, Google Ads over the time has become more and more expensive. When at the before it would cost you $50 to convert a whole sale, now their cost per sale was becoming $300, $400, and the repair service. So this is crazy. Like the repair service, which is something that they offer, the cost per click was around $120 for just a click, and that's not a conversion. So one of the strategies that I started building out is actually building out their SEO because they didn't have an actual strategy for that. Pretty much they were 100% only based on Google Ads, which is that at the long term, this company being more than, I believe, 10 years old, they were on the fourth, fifth place for all their products, and they have excellent products. I mean, they're like the top number one for repairs for all the products that they offer. And at the end, they were ranking really bad. So that was one of the things that I pretty much focused on. Actually, first of all, getting their services other than their products, because there's other brands, especially the brands that build out these products, which is some medical equipment for the URI. They're the ones that are always ranking first. So first I focus on the low hanging fruit, which is all their services, the repair services and everything, because for them to stop paying for that, those keywords, at the end, it just became, they're on number 2 or 3 right now, I believe, the last time I saw. And as well as their tip covers, their equipments, and all those kind of things, we've been building up for them to start ranking for those keywords. Even though at the moment they're not ranking in the first pages, we have seen an increase on the amount of sales that they get through SEO versus Google Ads, right? They're almost, you could say we're 70% there to the amount of sales that they made from, paid search, which is, that gives them at least a 45% savings when it comes to that part, allowing them to spend less on Google Ads and spend more on the, SEO services.
Great. Yeah, I've seen some of the results and the after 3 months generating an additional 25K or pacing even more in March, and now we're into April. I'm really excited to see um, how great the results are. I mean, this is an incredible case study in terms of revenue being generated. So it sounds like you saw some potential. He had been around for a while, and I think those are really great opportunities. So if there's any business owners out there who have been around for a while and maybe they're ranking middle to kind of high, but they've never worked on SEO. I think those clients are really great candidates for investing in SEO because you're already halfway there just by being yourself and being kind of authentically a good option in your space. I think another perfect example of that is another client we worked on together, a construction company who they were ranked about fourth or fifth for construction in town name, and maybe second or third on Google My Business. After about 1 or 2 months of us helping them out together, now they're the clear-cut number one for the Google My Business profile, which that if people don't know, that leads to an insane amount of additional calls by each rank you increase once you're in the top 3, because there's literally a click to call, a click to message. The conversion rate is so high, especially for those people ready to work, and you get your reviews displayed. There's just such valuable SEO real estate. So they're the clear-cut number one now. And besides 2 listicles like Clutch on the organic rankings below that, they're now the first actual company that's listed, not like a listicle, like a article of list of companies. There's 2 above them with that, like Clutch is a common one. But they are the first local option for their main service in that area. So they're the top number one. And the reason we were able to get them there is they were already pretty close. So I think that's a great, not only case study, but that's just a great example of explaining who is SEO right for. And I want to get into that in a bit. But yeah, so let's can you talk about a little bit how we improve their on-site, like their gradings on GT metrics, their and kind of what we're doing for them now and their results, in addition to those examples I already shared.
Yeah, so one of the things is, first of all, we really focus on optimizing their website. A lot of the things that whenever you create a website, many people just focus on just the aspects of it, how the website looks, the call to actions, some things which are really important, of course, to get the ball rolling. But as a business progresses, and that this business will be a long-term business, I do recommend to start off the faster you start off with SEO, the better. Because for instance, this company, their website was nice. They had some images, but being a construction company, their website is full of images, really big images, and they always try to. The designer will always try to make look the highest quality of the pictures within the website. So in this particular case, we had to do a lot of optimization of the images, the way the website was loading. I don't want to go into a lot of technical details in this particular case, but we focus on actually optimizing all their assets in a way that it loads within the first 3 seconds, making sure that the speed was on there. Second of all, making sure that every page had a title, a meta title, a meta description, that we had some focused keywords to make sure that the traffic that we're getting there were some particular cases that the customer was mentioning that, hey, we're getting traffic that is not related to the actual services that we do, and it's kind of off. Well, that's one of the things that we do, actually make sure that the focus keywords are there, that the services that it's talking on the page, and the content is optimized to make sure we get the right traffic, to make sure the conversions are there. Then after that, we did some scannings on Ahrefs, some to see more errors, 404s, pages that were deleted before, make sure they're redirected. We did some other cleanup on making sure that the backlinks that were connected to this site, with this about links that we thought were not actually good tailored to the industry that we had. So there was a lot of cleanup involved for this particular client. But at the end, those are the small things that maybe you as a business owner or somebody that doesn't know a lot about SEO or the technical part of it is you don't see a change in your actual website on the physical, like how it looks. All the things happen on the back end, and those are things that pretty much we do some scanning with scraper a screening frog, sorry. Ahrefs, we do some scanning with Deep, another company, another software that we use for scanning for SEO, looking for opportunities. We do a check for the backlinks. We do a check for the page speed optimization. So there's a lot of things that a regular business owner can't see, and it's difficult to understand because SEO, it is difficult. Technical SEO is a bit difficult, but at the end, those drive results. And the best thing about this, that these results, they can last for 1, 2, 3, 4, continuously for many years. I do recommend that once you do like a big SEO, work like this, that we revise it every 2, 3 months to make sure that that the changes that have been affected on Google, they're applied to the website. Maybe some pages that were deleted, make sure they're redirected. Some new pages, content that were added, make sure that they're cleaned up. So I recommend that not you don't focus. You do a big work on SEO and then revise it each month or two to make sure that the website is still optimized to keep those same results.
Yeah, for sure. It's a full scope of services that we worked on together, and it really paid off. You touched a lot of subjects there: the software we're using, the actual implementations. Yeah, and I think the results are just so great. Now we're working on getting individual services ranked in addition to just the generic construction company, because that intent of that keyword could mean so many different services. And right now this client wants to focus on, I mean, depending on the time of year and where their work capacity is at, they're always saying, let's focus on this service or this service. So now it's, instead of construction company, Cedar Rapids, it's roofing, or it's decks, or something else. So now that's where we're focusing on room for improvement there. So I want to kind of transition now into um, a lot of questions that might really be good for listeners, and provide some valuable info here. I want to address the number one question that we always get, the number one thing on business owners' minds when they're approaching SEO. And can you guess what that is?
Uh,
Take one guess.
when am I gonna get sales from this?
When can I get the results? Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, typically the scenario would go: a business owner has no idea if their SEO company is good or not until they spend they've either done it before and they know what to expect, but if you haven't, they're faced with the company saying this is going to take this is a 6-month contract. It could take 3 months, 6 months, a year. We don't know. It depends on the competition. It depends on all these factors, and it's tough for both sides, because the more the agency tries to explain and be transparent, the more the client, who is just thinking like, I don't need all the details, this sounds overwhelming, the more you explain it. So it's just kind of a really tough service. Like ROI Society has took a break in between us. We're working with it recently, the last half year, but we took a long break, several years, for this very reason, and this friction between this situation where the business owner says, "When can I get results?" So the risk for the business owner is they're picking the right company from the start, but if they pick wrong, wasting not only money but time. They're wasting 6 months to 12 months, and if they pick right, then great, they get those permanent results. If they pick wrong and it was just a cheap, you know, black hat SEO company, it could potentially even hurt their results. And now they paid all that money, they wasted all that time. Now they never want to work with SEO again. And I feel like a lot of business owners, myself included, I've gone through bad SEO companies for myself and for clients when we first started 5 years ago. But so I definitely understand. One way that I recommend people get around it, that we got around it, is when we were starting to work together, you and I, Gio, I had interviewed probably 3 or 4 companies and asked to see their plan. It was, compared to any other service, it's the number one service that we shopped around for to make sure we got good results, and decided to, bring you on to the ROI team because you said you're going to, use a combination of writers and AI to do this at scale, to get clients 100 blogs per month, to get them ranked faster, to have a complete and thorough SEO strategy. And you said you would help bring this and scale this to other clients as well. And it didn't seem like you were just in it for the money, like just for, charging as much as you can for this service. So for so many reasons in every area, I said, okay, this, but first and foremost, the knowledge level was there. I think some people we were speaking to were doing black hat techniques that would only get short-term results. And then some people were just had outdated strategies, or they were missing crucial, really technical things. And after really digging into it, I realized you guys were the best people to bring onto our team. But an average business owner, they're probably 9 times out of 10, they're not going to know how to tell the difference. They're gonna go with the lowest cost, or whoever's the smoothest talker, or it's really a tricky thing. So I think anyone listening right now, a lot of you, them might be in this buying decision right now, and they're listening to this podcast, and they're trying to gain that knowledge so that they can pick the right company going forward, which is, unfortunately, it's a lot of work. But I think clients and businesses should really do their research and who they go with. But it will. One of the things they should know, we'll talk about in a bit, a little bit more. You already touched up on this, on the step-by-step process and what services a company should include. But first, I want to talk about what can be expectations for a business owner who's doing local SEO. It's month by month. So what can they expect the first month when they're working on-site? Is there a boost of results in the short term? And then, competition levels, what can they expect depending on different situations with how competitive it is? And evaluating if this is right for them or not. And maybe I can speak to that a bit myself too, because this may not be the easiest project. We have some clients who are in extremely competitive markets, and it's going to take a very, very long time. And we need to build a lot of trust with this client to, make them realize that this is, no matter what company you work with, this is going to take a long time. So that's really a tricky thing for any company, any on both sides. You know, if you're in that position in a really tough, difficult market, everyone's spending a lot in your local city on SEO and they're ranking above you, and you have a budget of maybe $3,000 a month. Um, let's start there. Is that going to help this type of client?
So one of the things that can really help you out to understand how much SEO is going to cost you, look at your costs in Google Ads, cost per click. The higher the cost per click is, meaning there's more competition on advertising, meaning there's going to be a lot more cost on the part of the SEO, because that means other people are invested on it, like you mentioned, right? And the actual fact of it is that, and I think you brought this up, SEO is a long-term relationship. So you got to really, if first of all, if the person that's going to sell you this service is telling you that it's going to do magic for your business in the first 3 months, run away. It's not, it's really difficult for your website to rank in the first 3 months. And the reason is, it's not because of our work as consultants, it's because we don't determine who's going to rank. Google does it, right? So Google, we can go out, send all the signals to Google, we can send out all the optimization, but until Google indexes these pages, then Google does some testing regarding, the time spent on the pages. Then they look at you versus the competition. So they do a lot of analysis before it gets you up ranking really good, right? So a lot of these things, we don't control it, right? There's, like you said, mentioned, there's black hat SEO. There's people that out there go to these spammy websites, buy 1,000 backlinks, and then they buy. There's some other companies you can buy clicks from, that they're coming from other, like from South America, or different places where the cost for labor it's really low. They buy clicks from those things. If you see all of a sudden you're getting a lot of traffic from weird places, that means they're buying clicks and they're pretty much buying backlinks. And all of a sudden you have a lot of backlinks, a lot of clicks. Those indicators tell Google that your website is like really popular and it starts ranking. But then Google does an update on their system. They scan your website and it's like, oh, okay, so these come from spammy websites, these come from spammy links. Pretty much you're killed. And sometimes you can even get banned from Google from doing all these kind of tricks that will get you fast results. So if somebody tells you you're going to get fast results and you're going to get return on investment in the first 3 months, no, it is possible. I'm not saying that it's not. It's for certain industries that are like really niche down industries, or local. If you have a local, that's why we tell businesses to go and start off with local SEO, because it's really easier to go against your local plumber within your local area against the whole city, or against the whole state, or the whole country. So start off with local SEO. Start off with focusing on your services pages, and go step by step, right? Don't try to outbeat Google or try to do tricky stuff, because it's not going to get you, far. So that's, the part of it. And, going back to your question, does $3,000 a budget fit a company? Well, it depends. Is it a local company that it's doing local SEO for just in a specific, city? Could be the case. But if we're looking at, really competitive niche, let's say, for instance, in our case, we have some lawyers. Well, it's not, because lawyers per case get, they have a lot of winnings, So there's natural that all their lawyers are investing a lot on SEO, and they're investing in a lot of Google Ads. And there's even companies that invest on taking down all their competitors doing some bad SEO, right? Getting their, because it's simple to get their URL, getting on some websites and spamming them and getting them bad indicators for Google to rank them down. So it just becomes really competitive space to be. So it all depends, and that's why I recommend first looking at your cost per lead in Google on Google Ads. Running some some analysis, and if actually you would like in the long term, because this is something long term, lower your cost on Google Ads, right? I think SEO complements, because a lot of when it comes to advertising, it just complements the part of the ads and getting those conversions, making sure that as your business grows, you're not spending more on Google Ads, you're getting more organic traffic, meaning your ad spend doesn't go up as it would normally be if you're just focusing everything on Google Ads.
Mm. You know, I think SEO can be looked at in a few different ways in terms of who it's a good fit for and when's the right situation. Um, Financially speaking, too, one of the metaphors that I always use, I used to back when I was selling marketing services and not doing my own agency, I would work with a lot of contractors and remodelers and home builders, and Google Ads were being a great fit for them. But I think the metaphor that perfectly helped them understand the service and take all the technical stuff and say it in terms that they could understand was um, Google Ads is like renting an apartment, and you get to move in immediately. You get the immediate results. You get to live there. You pay rent every month, just like you pay the ads every month, but there's no equity. And SEO is like building a home from scratch. You can't move in right away. It takes a while to get the house up and running. But once it's up, you can move in right away, and you don't have to continue paying rent. You've already paid for your house, maybe some maintenance or some projects here and there as things update and they go on. But in terms of equity, it's an equitable um, service. And I feel that, let's say the economy takes a downturn and you have to cut a marketing service, which, I mean, it's not always recommended to do that either, because marketing brings in your revenue. So you're just basically cutting your revenue by cutting your marketing. Anyways, let's say you have no other choice and you cut ads. Well, you already did SEO when times were good. Now you have that safety net of incoming leads from SEO. You can get that. Whereas if you were reliant on ads, now times are hard, and if you can't afford ads, or you're forced to, and you're in a tough financial situation without SEO. So I think the same thing goes with an apartment versus a home, but maybe not so much nowadays. Homes are becoming as expensive as apartments almost, especially in Austin here. But um, I do think it is a good safety net. I do think, depending on your situation for a client, you I think uh, you wanna have a referral network and a foundation of client generation, ideally before you go to a marketing agency. But sometimes people don't have that, and they're looking for the marketing agency to be that source of steady leads. And let's say they're a newer company, or they're less established, and they just need some quick ads to get some results. That's fine. I think depending on the revenue, that this business is generating. If you can afford SEO, like you said, do it as fast as you can to get the results as soon as you can. And then when things are tough, it's just always going to be helping you out. But if you, and a lot of our appointments, we see they're in this budget range of 3 to 5K. If you need immediate capital to build, then in some of those cases, ads can make sense. Unless we see a lot of low hanging fruit, like the the TonoPen equipment e-commerce client, where he was so close, or to the top rankings, and only took a couple months, or if you're 2 or 3 ranks away from the first page or the top page for a very high volume keyword, then I think it's a lot safer for a company to say, hey, we can, if you've never done SEO before and now you start to do it, you're already pretty close to the top. I'm sure this is going to put you over, especially in industries where companies don't often invest in digital marketing. It is such a huge advantage. But I find that a lot of blue collar type of industries shy away from it, maybe because it's just totally different worlds. I think what we do and what they do, and there's a lot of reasons I think they hesitate in that. But when we do see a construction company or a landscaper invest in this, I think it scales them to the moon, because their competition is just sitting around and deciding whether they should do it or not. They're just trying to find the cheapest way. That I think it's, when there's low competition in general, any industry, it's a huge benefit. So back to one of the questions I had here, though. So one of the month by month expectations, what takes place in let's say a new client comes, what are you going to suggest to them in months 1 and 2? What can they expect by then? And then what happens continuously after the on-site SEO takes place, and when can they expect results? Let's say if there's lower competition locally in that
Okay.
scenario.
So usually this is the process we should usually take. SEO takes different parts of it, of analyzing, right? So the first thing we focus on the first month is doing all the technical things, right? Making sure your website loads fast, making sure you have your titles, your meta descriptions, and your content that is related to your industry, that you have content that is specific, tailored to it, the length of it, making sure that it's something that can be indexable by Google, and that you don't have any important, so just like another company we did SEO for, they were a spa, right? And they had a lot of these under page that were, they have their blog, their services, but all of a sudden they had an event system there that was showing their events, and they had a lot of events that they didn't, let's say for instance, it kept on their database and they didn't delete it. So a lot of these pages were still being indexed by Google. So their services, events, and it was a whole mix up. So what we focused on, okay, so if you have events, let's put it on a subdomain, let's clean it up, let's clean up all the links, let's focus your main website to your services page, and then everything is around your industry, right? So that way Google can see you as an expert or as a provider for the service. So that's the first month, first or two, 1 or 2 months, depending on the size. But since we're talking about a local company, small, I think it's the first month. The second one is then we start thinking about, okay, now we look at keyword research. Let's look at the keywords that we want to focus on that will drive, conversions. We look at, if you already run ads, we look at what's converting on Google Ads, what's the main keywords that are converting. We'll look at some other keywords through Ahrefs or other, tools that we provide. But the most important thing to look for a small company that don't have all these tools just do a quick Google search on questions that people will are asking about your industry. So if you go on Google, you say, how can I, cut my yard, right? Google will tell you the first one, right? How to cut your yard. But then on the bottom, it said, also people ask this question about your industry. Just answer those questions on blogs. Let's start answering all those questions. Let's make a detailed information how to do it. The more information you provide and the more in depth you give, try to answer those questions. You don't need complex SEO tools to actually get started in SEO. Just look at the questions people are asking on Google, and the best tool to do that is Google, because it already is telling you what people are asking, and because it gives you those other suggestions, that means there's already traffic for those questions. On top of that, if you answer those questions, you're probably going to be on there whenever people ask those questions. You're going to be on those suggested answers. So adding FAQs to your blogs can also really help, because it can get you up there, even though you're not ranking right now for the first place. So that's what I will focus on the second month, just answering questions for clients, for your customers. On the third month, once we have all of this, we optimize all those blocks that you did. We make sure that there's some tools out there to link out, so it can make sure that we have the correct wordings, scores. But as a small business, you don't have that. Don't worry about it. Just connect Google Search Console, and on the third month, I would start looking at what we're actually ranking for, what are the keywords Google is indexing me for, right? And then I just continue on building on more content related to that to make sure that I keep on increasing, right? So those are the three things. If you do that the first 3 months and you leave it, you'll see some improvements. By the 5th or 6th month, you're gonna see that your traffic will double or triple, because all those keywords, all the things that you had, they were not there. So that's why it's difficult for us sometimes to explain that to a customer, that there's a process of, you build out these things and then you see the results within 3 to 6 months, because that's the time frame Google indexes. But if you want to continue on building, then you start doing outreach to get some backlinks for your blog, right? Maybe you look out for other people that are in the industry guest posting, right? You know what? I'm going to write a blog on your site, and you're going to link back to mine. That gives you authority, right? That you're actually an expert on the industry. So after doing that, it's not just doing the blogs. You have to do a lot of outreach to do backlinks, and that we would focus on, so that way your domain rankings can go up. As well, providing value within each one of the blogs, making sure. Right now, there's a tent that you can just go to ChatGPT, make it write for you a long article, but it's not going to rank right now, because there's already some penalizing from Google for using these tools in a way that they're not intended to. Google actually likes you to use it, but there's a specific use case for it, because you start out writing your blogs, you answer these questions, but as well you put your tone into it. You make sure that it's readable for your customer, that it's not a whole paragraph. You put images, videos. The more work you put on these blogs, the best, the higher you're gonna rank for, right? So ChatGPT is good, to get some ideas, to clean up your article, to add FAQs, to research some other stuff. But you should use the tools appropriately, not abuse them, because if you put it out in automation that you write 100 blogs, in a whole week, well, it's not going to really help you out at the end. It's going to hurt you. So I recommend that the first 3 months that you're actually writing, you try to get to 100 blogs. If your industry has a certain amount of competition within the 3 months, so that's a blog a day. try to write a blog a day. That should give you within the first 3 months 90. Some days write out 2 or 3 to get those 100 blogs within those 90 days, and see where that takes you.
Right. You brought up an interesting point that I wanted to mention too about, I remember you told me you were adding backlinks at a very, very fast pace, maybe 5 or more a day, I forget. But you said it was too many and your site was traffic was going up, up, up. And then all of a sudden it went down and you correlated it to going too fast. So that just tells you right there that the bottleneck is potentially, it's not even an agency, it's Google's algorithm saying, hey, slow down. What you're doing might be potentially spammy. This isn't, that's why people call this organic, because what's happening is not necessarily so organic when you go too fast or you add such a high quantity so aggressively with backlinks, at least. But one thing that we do that is pretty, we have found a way to be aggressively fast with content creation in a way that's safe, in a way that is not penalized by Google. And I want to get to that in a second, but I also want to recap exactly my understanding of what you said. So month one, with an SEO plan, you're working on site, you are improving website speed, backend code, which helps Google. It speaks to Google and says, hey, here's our subjects, here's our frequently asked questions. When you're scrolling down Google and you see these little questions that are asked, all this real estate on Google, this is communicating to Google through code, is essentially all the technical is doing, is making it easy for Google to understand what you're trying to put out there. That's the need for the technical part. It's also a bit of strategic structure and keyword insertion for your main service pages and your other pages of your site, and getting those all listed to Google. So that's basically your foundational process. You're on site for month one. And then month two, we are building what's a score, basically a popularity score, through generating traffic through blogs. The blogs are questions that people may have in your industry. So for example, landscaping ideas for my backyard or something like this. Just people in the researching phase. These articles, a lot of clients I see, they're concerned with them because they're not directly leading to conversion. So why are we doing this? It's not just for the sake of getting that traffic number up. And I want to clarify how important this is, because I would see this and would think, okay, the SEO companies, they're just looking at increasing that traffic analytics and trying to bump up the numbers. They're not actually doing hard converting keywords, which came from me from such a Google Ads foundational, keywords like near me or service in this town or best, contractor near me. And these types of keywords, I thought the blogs would all revolve around that, but it comes back to, I learned through you, is that we're building a score, a domain authority. It's a fancy way of saying this is a hidden score that Google has on your site, and we do 2 services ongoing: content creation through blogs, through top funnel researching level people and traffic, in combination with generating backlinks, which are links from other sites to your own site. It's a sign that Google says, hey, your website must be legitimate because other websites are linking to it. So an SEO company does both these things. Maybe they link to your blogs, maybe the blogs bring in more traffic, your overall traffic contributes to this score. And our tool Deep that we use is really great for explaining this and showing competitors of our clients, your scores at 20 or 30, your competitors, some are below, some are high. And the logic is once our score, that number goes higher than their number through these methods that we're doing, you should be in a position to rank much higher for the mutual keywords that you're ranking on. So for a low competition client who already has some decent rankings or some established keywords in their local market, they should be, within 3 to 6 months is a reasonable estimate that they can improve on these rankings if they've never done anything before. Just all this value that's being added and doing these best practices in SEO should really help them get there by that point. And so that's essentially what the process looks like to my understanding. Is there anywhere I'm off there? And I know we forgot to mention Google My Business in the process. We're just talking about the site, but we can also mention that. But am I forgetting anything with in terms of like the organic listings and the website rankings?
No, and I think you pointed out a good point right there. Usually, a lot of whenever I talk to a lot of customers that are like, I want to rank and focus on these keywords and the ones that actually convert. My approach is yes, we can do that. Yes, we can tackle them from the beginning. But since you're not actually have a good authority, it doesn't matter if we try to tackle it. We don't have enough backlinks. We can't compete against the competitor that they're ranking for #1 and they have a domain authority and they already have time for this. We need to start off with low hanging fruit, giving them good signals to Google. And it's just a time. So I think about SEO being like social media, right? Let's say, for instance, whenever you start doing like YouTube videos, at first you don't get any traffic, you don't get any views, and you just have to consistently keep on building on it, right? And once you start a point, you start reaching out to other content creators, do collaborations, and do all these kind of things to build out your brand and get those views. And any person that's a content creator will tell you that for at the beginning they didn't have any traffic. As well, the quality of the videos were not there. They had like a weird camera, mic, and they just started out. But the thing is, they started out, but then later as you progress, the same thing goes for for SEO. You become better at it. You use more tools. You understand more about the numbers. You understand more what works and what doesn't. So it is a phase of learning, and you as yourself as a business owner, you can do it yourself and try to go at it step by step. If you're a local small company or entrepreneur, just start out building, and with these steps that we talked about, that just Jay recap on it. It's pretty much that. You can expect to do those things and try and get some decent results.
Yeah, definitely. And so one thing we talked a lot about the ranking the individual site, and that kind of coincides with one of the main converting SEO platforms is Google My Business, and especially for local. So what I see is when it comes to that is what we're doing with the site really corresponds with how that profile ranks. If you Google and you look for your own business or any business, you look for a specific service, you're going to see those maps listings, you're going to see the reviews, and oftentimes you'll see in bold either a couple different things. And it could be someone mentioned the service in the review. They'll say this is the best hairdresser in Austin. This is the best landscaper. It'll literally bold the keyword that you searched and it'll say, hey, this matches that review. So you can tell right there that the way that you ask for reviews is actually really helping your ranking. Another thing is the service. It can also says you know, so-and-so business mentions this on their website. So everything we just talked about is also boosting the Google My Business ranking too. It's not just, you can't just have, I mean, some markets you can, if the competition is really low, you can just have a profile, maybe have like five-star reviews and rank for the top. My mom's bookkeeping company, when she was considering moving to Kentucky, I did a quick audit for her and I said, there's like one company with one review in this city of 200,000. I think you're going to generate a ton of business just by this is low hanging fruit. This is a good opportunity here. Um, but if it's more competitive and people have done SEO, then you have to work on your site to get your Google My Business profile ranking, and you have to vice versa. You have to work on your GMB profile to get your site and everything to be in sync. These are both Google products. But could you talk a little bit about and back to month one? We're also setting up GMB
Google.
profiles, we're optimizing, and what are we doing to help clients rank for that?
Yeah, so first of all, the name to focus on, the key things to focus on Google My Business is to make sure that it's optimized. First, make sure that your business name is correct. I have seen a lot of people try to add their name of their business and some other, trying to add some other weird stuff.
Like adding the keywords they want.
Yeah, adding keywords or something. No, just keep your business name correct. What's important in your business description, your services. Google allows you to put in what type of services you provide, right? They already give you a predefined list, but what we do is things that are more technical or more oriented. We make sure that we include all the services that they have, write a description for them, add pricing if available. So that makes sure that in your Google My Business listing, that all your pricing is correct, right? Add your logo, a main picture, more pictures of your business. The more information you bring out to Google, the better it understands what your business is about. So really take your time to really answer all those questions that Google ask you, because it is a quite long list. It tells you what service you do, what type of industry, what type of what's your opening hours, what's your what amenities you offer. Is it you have smoke areas, you don't have smoke areas, those kind of things. Take your time. I mean, the simple answer is take your time to answer all the questions. Take your time to fill out all the services that you provide. Fill out all your profile images, and that will really optimize your actual profile. Then have a strategy for the reviews, as you mentioned, Jay. The key thing here is that whenever somebody fills out a review for you, don't just ask them, hey, just give me a review. They'll say, very good service. That really doesn't help the other people. Try to incentivize your customers. Say, hey, if you give us a Google My Business review, we're going to give you 20% off the next cup. And the requirement says that you really tell your experience. Everything, I believe, and this is becoming more and more as we progress more in this, this time. We always look for legitimate, genuine feedback or reviews. It's like we want to hear what's the story of the person that actually went into your business. What do you help them out with, and what was his experience for? Right? We recommend businesses reaching out to their customers and telling them their story, because I think there's really nice stories for a lot of these businesses that and maybe it was a psychologist, right? And maybe I like myself, put in my perspective, as I have kids, I've gone to psychologists, and pretty much I tell when I give out reviews, I tell what I went, I had this problem, and we talked it out with the psychologist for this amount of time, and we worked on it, and the experience was awesome, and we encountered these issues at the beginning, but at the end it was really helpful because of A, X, Y, and Z. When you have your customers tell out their story, I mean, your Google's reviews include those keywords, and it pretty much gives Google the indicator that these reviews are, legitimate. They're not like really nice service or good time, or those things that are really short. Those do help you out get your star ratings, but always try to incentivize your customers in a way, depending on the industry, to make sure that the reviews are long and they really tell out the story. And another thing that I would do is use the tools that Google actually gives you. There's a tool to write out your products. There's a tool to write out your updates. If there was something we use it a lot on blogs. Each time you write a blog, put a referral link to Google My Business, those articles, those updates, use them as well. Pretty much Google is already giving you all the tools you need. There's no like magic way, like if you do this strategy is just gonna work. No, it just I think that it's pretty much just follow the things and learn a little bit of the tools Google My Business has, and try to always respond on the reviews. Try to interact with your customers within that space, and you'll see that you're going to start seeing really good results.
Hmm. These are all, yeah, definitely things that can help. I feel that the algorithms are imperfect. I do see people keyword stuffing in their title ranking above people who don't still. I see a lot of old strategies that are probably for newer businesses trying them. It probably won't work, but it does seem like there are times where there's no rhyme or reason to why someone ranks higher than someone else, especially in competitive markets. Like someone is blogging, they're doing all their reviews, it's all 5.0, and then someone with less reviews, with worse star rating, with no SEO effort can still rank above you. Maybe it's location, or if they're more in the center of town, if someone just searches the city, there's still these tricky things, but in competitive markets, but in less competitive markets, all those best practices I think really do get you to the top, and hopefully we see these algorithms improve. I think one with getting reviews, it actually is, you do want to have a review gaining strategy for sure, but you also want to make sure that you don't violate policies and offer a service in exchange for reviews. So what we're going to try and do potentially at one point is offer consultations and ask optionally if they were satisfied to leave us a review. I think is technically the way Google wants you to do it, so that there's legitimacy in the reviews. It's really disappointing to see a competitor just buy a bunch of fake reviews and get boosted up above you. But yeah, that's the reviews and the sincerity of them. I think that's a whole nother topic for maybe another day. But just my 2 cents is try and stay sincere, try and get clients to mention your services and mention how they helped you. And I'm sure if you did a good job, they'll add the compliments in without you even having to ask. So the last thing about GMB and next topic I want to go about is this. I find converts extremely well. This has been, for us anyways, when we were focused on the Cape Cod market, it was another low competition situation. We generated maybe 20 leads in a year, the highest quality leads we've ever seen, and some leads are still working with us to this day and have been an enormous source of revenue. So we're very, very satisfied with the results from the GMB profile. We actually thought it was better than the on-site stuff. Maybe we hadn't completely continuously worked on our on-site, but it can be a really great way to generate business and actually, translate this SEO service into dollars. Another thing too, I think more on that ROI aspect of SEO. I'm not gonna lie, it's very tricky to point out ROI like it is compared to ads. Ads, you can lock in your cost per lead with maybe potentially a couple dollars fluctuation if it's not too seasonal for the client. And if you know your sales close rate, you can get the ROI. But with SEO, it is long term. It's not so clear with the ROI. So what can agencies do or clients do to get their agencies or their marketing teams to get them to show the return? I think after that 3 to 6 you know 3 to 6 months or whenever you're starting to notice traffic, um, you should have set up goal tracking in Google Analytics from the start, and then have actions tracked on your website in addition to Google My Business calls and messages. You should track actions such as uh, phone call clicks. So anything with the TEL link click. So if you're not tracking your phone number clicks, you're completely missing that on ads and on SEO. So that's huge. If your SEO company or your ad company isn't doing that, you might want to rethink working with them. That's the quickest way to tell that they're missing opportunities and not fully optimizing things is the phone call click tracking, to track phone calls, to track form submissions, either by the button click or if it redirects to a thank you page, that URL gets tracked as a goal in analytics. And then you have lesser conversions, but still pretty valuable. Anyone who goes to the contact page, or for e-commerce, anyone who adds to cart or, initiate checkout or adds payment info, all these actions, they're a little more advanced to set up, but your agency or marketing employee should definitely be able to track this. Tracking is not the easiest thing to do, but it's one of the most important things because at the end of the day, as business owners, we're investing in these services because we want money in return. And if we can't figure out how to do that, then we can't confidently invest in these things that we know that are good. Everyone's saying they're good, but we're not verifying how, can we spend more? Should we spend less? This is what tracking enables you to do. So in all our SEO reports going forward now, we are showing from organic all these, for lead generation, we're showing all these different conversion actions. For e-commerce, it's very easy. You can just see, okay, organic, money came in. Tracking's a lot easier for e-commerce. A lot of these platforms inherently assist you to set up that tracking. But yeah, I think that's one of the most commonly overlooked things that many agencies, SEO agencies, do. They're all about traffic and ranking, but they need to remember why that business signed up for them. They know they want to increase their rankings and their traffic, but why are they wanting to? Those are just methods or funnels or processes to making them more money. So if you can report on the money that the service is bringing you, you need to have that as a business, and you need to have that with your agency. So that's something we at ROI Society are adding to our SEO reports and happy to deliver to clients. And one caveat with that is we want to exclude the branded searches. So the name of the company should be excluded from these reports, and that can sometimes be 40% of the traffic and 40% of the conversions, roughly. That's really misleading, especially with Google Ads too. Um, uh, this is widely debated, but I've always been on the side of that. Even if you do branded keywords with ads, or you don't really focus on it with SEO, you're naturally ranking first most of the time, unless your brand name is a keyword. But the reporting should always be separate. The campaign should always be separate. There's the companies who do a Google Ads campaign, they add at the ad group level, your company's name, and then that gets a $10 cost per lead, and everything else is 100. and then they say, hey, look, we're getting you a $50 cost per lead. We're fitting within that. That's so misleading, because either in SEO or in ads, anyone who's searching for your brand, the vast majority of them are existing customers, or they're a referral, and they're very, very likely going to work with you anyways if they haven't already. So they're either working with you or will already work with you. And just by you being your brand, you don't need an SEO company to rank first on that. I mean, you can do things to improve your click-through rate, especially at the national level. This stuff starts to matter. But I think locally, you don't want to get deceived by that data. So if you're DIYing, definitely segment this yourself, or if you have an agency or a marketing employee, have them split up those reports and exclude uh, search queries, which is the literal thing someone's searching, from the rest of your keywords, which are, service 1, service 2. The other keywords is where you're actually acquiring new business. This is traffic that's being added to your sales pipeline. That's the stuff that I think really matters, and it takes a lot of courage for an agency to make their results and their cost per acquisition look worse, to have that sincerity. But I think that also builds trust if you do it in that way. So yeah, what are your thoughts with that, Gio?
Yeah, I think you're really nailed it on that point. Reporting is one of the most important things. And right now, as I was thinking about it, because there's so many things you can do about it, I think one of the greatest strategies that you even started implementing is a way to actually measure these results and get a number right now is set up your newsletter, right? I mean, all these people that are coming in organically to your site, to your blogs, set up call to actions for newsletters, pop-ups, give an incentive. Right now, like people give out PDFs or discount coupons, those kind of things. Those are a good way to get leads, because that's another way you can start measuring how many people. Because let's say, for instance, this pub company we did, they really measure a lot based on how many subscribers they're getting on their email list. Sometimes it doesn't really have to refer to sales on this, but phone clicks. That's another way you can measure it. These intents, they're not actual conversions, but they're buying intents, or they want to know more about your product. So, that's a strategy we're actually building on the ROI site. We have for newsletters. And at the moment, even if you're not going to be sending out newsletters at the time, later on, you can do it. And it's easy to set up uh, in, um, Brevo, Constant Contact, or MailChimp, or all these, email marketing software. They have, you create your form, you just copy and paste it to your site, and this can actually benefit you. There's another thing that is push notifications. You can actually have people subscribe to your push notifications, and you can measure that, because may not represent sales at the moment, but later on it gives you tools to run your email marketing campaign. Later on, whenever you have the opportunity, you already have the thing set. It's better to have build something on your website and leave it as is for a long time, and come back to it and realize you already have 1,000, 2,000 subscribers, and you'll actually have somebody to target to on your email marketing campaigns. And this is the power of actually compound. Even when you talk about investments, is compound interest. Well, this is compound, and it just keeps on growing. Yeah, and it just gives you more tools to market yourself. Right? And the cost per running these type of campaigns are really lower than what you would expect on Google Ads. So yeah, I think just looking for ways to track it is the most important thing. And I think, as you mentioned, your specialties should be also have in mind that your intent is to get sales sooner or later from this. Because if they're not, it's really hard for us professionals, and I'm not putting my point, to understand that a business, this is the reality. They just want sales, right? So it's like whenever you have a designer, right? A designer just focuses on making things really pretty and making things really awesome, right? But then you tell them, okay, well, oriented to sales. Well, then they start adding call to actions, buttons specifically tailored to the customer so that they can convert. So in each one of our technical parts of our business, there's always an intent to make a sale. So especially on SEO, I think your consultant or the person that's helping you out on this, they should also have that in mind. That sooner or later, you should have data to convert, right? And I think that that's the main takeaway on adding all these analytics and all these things to track the SEO efforts.
Yeah, so the pop-up lead generation form, I think that's great for national and local, the strategy would be nationally, you can work with anyone in the nation, like us, for example. So building our email list, 100% of the time, there's a chance for that person to be a customer in the future. And to explain this in the context of a customer journey or funnel, this can apply to any customer. So the top funnel blogs, the idea seeking, the what are some kitchen remodel designs? What do I do if finding a lawyer, find if you're in trouble with the law and you're looking for a defense client, what are my options? How severe is this offense? And then a blog shows up. This is someone who's top of funnel. They're not necessarily looking for a lawyer, but they're trying to identify and educate themselves on their situation or their want or their need. And you're that authority figure there with the blog. And then you're converting them to send them additional content. But in those emails that you send out can be call to action buttons to contact you or work with you. And sure enough, these people who are not ready to buy from you or work with you immediately will be. And to do email marketing to them at a later point is extremely low cost compared to acquiring them in the first place with things like ads. For locally, the strategy would be to just filter by your area if you're only converting in that area, unless you have some other national engagement strategy. But if you are trying to be efficient and you're always going to work in your area, just engage and filter locally with your remarketing efforts. But yeah, no, I think it's a great way to just add the form up and just generate additional value for your SEO campaign or your ad campaign with any content on your site. So with the subject of AI, this is we see a lot of companies are trying to find new ways to utilize this into their content creation. We see Google penalizing a lot of spammy or bad or AI generated content. So we are using AI right now to help us blog at a high volume without sacrificing quality of the blogs. And that Google update that went against the penalized AI, we were totally fine or improved with our clients. So without giving too much information and too much details, because it is quite technical, can you talk a bit about this modern AI assisted SEO process and how business owners can use AI to help their SEO plan and their content creation?
Yeah, of course. So just gonna give some pointers, to not go really in the extent of it. So first of all, it's good to create your titles, right? So let's say, for instance, you're gonna talk about landscaping, right? Landscaping ideas. Well, tell the ChatGPT, hey, I'm gonna write an article about landscaping ideas. Give me some good titles for these that are engaging, right? The first title that maybe it will tell you top 10 ideas for 2024, which is something that people who are actually look for. Then on your subtitles, it can really give you a nice structure to follow up on the main title. So that will give Google an indicator that you really well structure your article. So for the titles, it's something really good to use it for. Now, after that, each one of the titles that you have, start writing out your article and right, and include some reference to quotes or data. So let's say, for instance, you're going to build out the 10 ideas that you have. But then you have, for this idea that you're going to make out, I don't know, you're going to build something, you want to know what's the average price for each one of the equipment you need, right? The wood, the nails, whatever. Ask ChatGPT, create me a table with the top 10, with the tools that I need, and what's the average cost for these on built by end amount. Well, it's going to build out a nice table for you that you can copy and paste to your article, and that already tells the user you're adding more assets than just text. You're actually giving them numbers, right, about related to your topic. So reference as well, right? As okay, where can I get a reference regarding this technique? Oh, ChatGPT can give you a reference for that, and you can research it as well to make sure that it's correct, right? You can review it. And FAQ questions, right? Have ChatGPT research out what are your frequently asked questions for that specific title. So use it as a tool, not the means of actually just tell it to write it, because that really helps out that your content is really giving you out something really valuable. Like when, let's say for instance, when you want to build something, it's really valuable for you to know like what's the average price of the things you're going to need and how much is going to be spending on that. You know, those kind of things can really add value to your content, and that's the way you got to use ChatGPT to give out more value. And instead of a person, just keep in mind that what you're doing in this article is saving somebody time to do their own research, right? So in these cases, yeah, it just really helps out the customer. You're actually giving them value because they don't have to be jumping all over all the sites. They can just focus on your article, and it's step by step. It includes, you know, graphics, it includes images, it includes tables regarding things. It tells you references to other sites, some quotes. One thing that we also use it for is asking it to just make sure that it bolts out important words, that it adds italics where it has to, and at the end, try to make it as more accessible as you can. You know, by not making the paragraphs really long, you know, keeping things, you know, bite-sized so people can really, you know, just read it out and understand it pretty well. So that's, you know, my main pointers I would, you know, give for related of using AI on your articles.
Yeah, and all these things can be saved in a template or a prompt, you know, your tone of writing, your all these best practices. Sometimes, yeah, like just using GPT and saying do an article, it's not it's going to overthink all these optimizations. So having a template of your tone of voice, your strategy is really crucial with content writing. And one thing we do that's it's just not all AI. We on our team we still have writers, we still have proofers. There's a lot of people who are still involved. So it's not completely 100% AI yet. It's so, but I think that's how we're able to create quality content with AI assisting us instead of just making it soulless. We're still having employees help out and make it good. So yeah, I think it's you definitely have to use it to be competitive with SEO as an agency or as a business owner. Um, just writing from scratch is very. There are some pros to it, but those are going to fade away pretty soon as more and more updates come out. So we're of the philosophy that AI is definitely the future of SEO when it comes to content creation, working with it, not relying on it at the current state of it. But it'll be really interesting to see with future updates or whenever general AI comes out or whatever. Is everyone just going to click a button and then rank? And it's just going to be who has a war of who has the best AI for their site. With everyone's going to have like 100, 200 blogs, and it's how do you even differentiate yourself at that point?
Yeah, and I think that's a worry. I think even Google is looking at it, but because even their search, it's changing, right? They're trying to push more of their board AI quotes on top, and the it's difficult because now a lot of things are changing. Now you even have to optimize for AI. And so that's actually a term that's coming out. I don't want to get too much into that because that's something I'm researching as well. But optimization for AI, so that AI, whenever Board gives out its references on the search, the AI reference, that you appear on those references. So it just becomes, if your agency is not always constantly researching all these things. I mean, I would recommend to tell them, hey, what's going to be the next thing? What do I need to focus on? Because even the SEO landscape is changing, and as you mentioned, more people are using it. Even Google right now started ranking for specific industries. I'm not saying for all, but for a specific industry, you're seeing Quora actually pop up more, because Quora, it's a forum where people answer the questions, like more on technical things or reviews or for things. Those sites that are organic have increased their rankings because Google is looking for organic stuff, right? So the landscape always changes, but the best thing to do is always keep updated to what's going on in this world, what's the best strategies. What worked 4 years ago, it's not going to work today. So it's going to, technology moves faster than we can keep and pace as humans. So one of the things that I do on my teams, I always have a constant flow of junior new hires, because they come with the energy to actually read a lot of these things. They come excited, and the new, I mean, I'm not pretty old, but I mean, a lot of the new people that I've been hiring, they come already a different mindset, because they're living this era. They don't know what it was back when you had MySpace, or all those old social medias. They know right now TikTok. They know more about it than or all this landscape of technology. So that's a strategy that I use. That I always have new hires that are really fresh out of their university or their school, because it just keeps things keeps everyone researching, and they bring up really nice ideas. And even right now that we have interns on our society, they also are excited to learn new stuff, and they are in this era that is changing, where AI is taking over. We thought it was going to be more, the regular jobs, uh, the picking out on the fields, all these kind of things. But no, it's taking over a lot of white collar jobs. Lawyers, accountants, developers. They're all, the more technical your job is, the more likely there's already been AI being generated to take over, right? And it just takes away, like so for instance, in the developer landscape, me myself as a senior developer, I constantly have a flow of clients or projects. But a junior developer, now it's really hard for them to come up, because they don't have the experience, and even AI can do what a junior developer usually you put them to clean up code, document systems or stuff like that an intern would do. So all the time you gotta, in each industry you gotta adapt it to yourself, right? If you're new to all this and you're trying to do SEO and all that, now look for ways AI can really help you out. Learn the techniques, learn how to do really nice prompts, and that will just get you a head start of everyone else, right? So AI is really awesome, but it's also really scary, where it's going to take us. Nobody knows. Even I think even the people that are building all these complex things, they don't know where it can end up.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So instead of trying to compete against AI to uh, find how to work with it and make your value to your business or to your clients even stronger as a job applicant or a business, whatever the situation. And I think the number one thing that I've noticed so far that helps, you're talking about search results with AI because that is the future of search, and it's already here. You can search things through Bing with ChatGPT. Google has an AI. Facebook has an AI. Everyone's and their grandmother has an AI at this point, like the Samsung Galaxy AI on the new phones. It's like every week someone's coming up with a new one. That is the future. So the way to stand out and to rank, I think, is I think it's more of it's hard to say whether all the technical stuff we're saying now. I'm sure a good portion of it will be irrelevant in a couple years, and it will be more. It's always the way things are always been heading is to be more organic and true, and just natural and less thinking of the algorithm. People are always going to try and find ways around it, but it's heading more and more in that way. And I think AI is a huge leap towards content and authenticity mattering more. But I don't even that's important. But I think the most important thing to rank now is to be unique and to stand out. So, for example, when we were doing the bid on the B2B healthcare client who wanted to develop the app, I was looking for another agency that specialized in healthcare B2B. So it was an industry and also B2B. So it was two specific things. I used ChatGPT to find someone. It gave me a list of the 3 or 4 best people, and they had listed on their site something extremely specific. If I had just searched for a marketing agency or a B2B agency, I may not have found such a specialized solution. But the agency had told me we were the second one client or lead that had found them through GPT. They say that they had worked on their SEO, but I think the driving factor, whether they worked on it or not, was that they put themselves out there for that space for a specific thing plus another specific thing. Made them unique. It made me, with my hyper specific search, find them. And I think businesses can either do this if they already have a situation like something specific like that, like um, Austin service that does specific things like location, service, plus unique factor or specific factor. That can really stand out because AI is going to. I think what it'll do is it'll build profiles on us and say, what do you like? What are your interests? Or maybe it won't ask me. It'll just track us already. Um, and I think things results will be even more personalized too. So putting this information out there, what's so specific about your service, what's unique, is really going to help you rank with AI and in SEO in the future, and it's going to get you better clients too. People, when I was applying for jobs, this point that I'm making also applied. um, I found I had 2 job offers that were not only for needed digital marketing, but it was digital marketing in an industry that I had specialized in, event marketing. I'm a music business major, and I've been doing event marketing for 15 years. And it's just all over my resume because I was uh, had about 3, 4, 5 different jobs in event marketing or events. So um, I think it's only natural that the 2 offers were marketing plus another unique thing, and it matched exactly those people. And I had applied to hundreds of places. So, um, yeah, being specific and being niche will have it already does have a high conversion rate, but it's going to be even more so evident when AI gets more sophisticated and finds you a really exact match. So I think that's the best thing that businesses or people searching for jobs can really differentiate themselves with, and it's just going to get more important. It already is important.
Yeah. It's just a crazy world out there. There's so many things that a business has to keep on learning. I think things are evolving at such a big rapid pace that even for us technical people, it's just really, really have become something of constant learning, right? And I think anyone that's in this space has to do that, constantly learning what's going on in the business, what's the industry, what's the biggest next trends. So, yeah, I don't have more takes on that. I think you nailed every single part of it.
Yeah, it's the best prediction I got. It's what we're seeing so far, and um, I think though, and I'm hopeful that things will become more easier as technology evolves. There will be additional things to learn, but hopefully additional things to assist in our operations. Hopefully, so in some ways more work, in some ways less work. We'll see. But yeah, that's really all I got for topics I wanted to cover. But thanks so much for coming on, Gio, and sharing your expertise and insights on SEO. Really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course, anytime. Yeah. Hopefully, it was some good information. I know that sometimes being a technical person like I am, our communication skills are not the best, right? We always talk to computers, A, B, C, and ifs, else, all these weird languages that we speak to it. So hopefully, I was able to get out my points out there, and they're helpful for people. And yeah, anytime. I'm glad. I'm always happy to help.
Yeah, I mean, long form podcasts. I think this is the perfect place to be technical and deep dive into these things. So no, it's definitely preferred compared to the alternative with someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, but makes it bite sized. So no, definitely, I think people are getting a ton of value from your technical expertise. So thanks so much again, Gio, and guess we'll end it here and. All right. Thanks again, man.
Yeah, thank you. Have an excellent week, and let's get some work done. Bye bye.
Yes. Sounds good.